is too much fun. I'm gonna go for Newbee.
All right, gentlemen, sounds great. We'll see how it goes down. TI4 versus TI5. Let's see how it breaks apart. It's going to be game number 1 in our casters for this one. Capitalist and Blitz.
That's right, as Cobble Guy alluded to, the international, the biggest prize that all the Dota teams search for, has yet to be won twice by any team or any player. In this series, this is really where the race, the first to two, if you will, begins. Evil Geniuses facing up against Newbee, TI5 winners versus TI4, and even a TI2 winner in the face of Chuan match up against each other to keep their hopes alive in the winner's bracket. Despite such a storied history between these two teams, their exact strength and weaknesses in the bracket remain a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, especially since both teams haven't really played a lot coming into this. We saw EG a little bit at Star Ladder. Newbee's been almost a complete mystery. It's kind of hard to judge just based on the group play alone. Newbee looked kind of mediocre, but a lot of teams said that they were strong coming into this event. EG was kind of the opposite, where based off of Star Ladder, you could say that they looked a little bit shaky and they just haven't had a lot of time to gel, but since the group stages, this team has looked like a well-oiled machine.
So which version of these two teams will we see? Will we see the Newbee that was dominating and being top 3 in every single one of the premier tournaments going into TI? Or will we see the Evil Geniuses that has risen up going into the group stage and has managed to get themselves into the winner's bracket? Now, we're going to start things off. Evil Geniuses heading up to that top side, trying to secure Sumail, an easy banner rune. Newbee will control bottom. Looks like there's not going to be too much of a contest here. Our lanes should be fairly normal, right? Zai's going to be backing up Sumail, I presume, in the mid lane, trying to get that Storm Spirit the biggest jump possible. That's what you referred to earlier, right? In the previous series, how Draw Ranger matched with the Storm Spirit is what allows him to have a good laning phase. You need to be able to have that extra bit of help for a Storm.
Yeah, especially since Storm relies heavily on getting those first 3 items as fast as possible. Just the Bloodstone alone on this hero doesn't really make him threatening. It's really just the potential to zip across the map, pick somebody off with the Orchid, then just immediately get out. Getting that second defensive item post Bloodstone is going to be really important in this game, especially if he's going to have any chance at survival against these heroes. I'd imagine a BKB or a Linken's is going to be what he goes for third. Even something like a Shiva's could really help him greatly against both the Slaughter and the Elder Titan.
Now, Zai had the idea here to be up in the top lane and stack up for the Batrider, that off-lane camp. Unfortunately, to his dismay, he's going to discover that that one has just been blocked out by Chuan's onboard laid out. So, no easy farm for Universe to be able to recover from. Meanwhile, Newbee are actually running a much more active off lane of their own, with KC and Kaka facing up against Fear and PPD, matching a 2 versus 2.
Right now, it doesn't really look like Fear is going to get too much out of this lane. Both the Elder Titan and the Slaughter are such strong laners, especially in the early phase. PPD should just pull, try to get levels. Sort of abandoning trying to trade hits with these two heroes. They're not really going to take that much damage, and up at top, Zai kind of secured Universe's farm a little bit. Trying to take advantage of the fact that Shadow Demon and Slark in the early phases aren't too strong.
Once again, Chuan, stymieing the plans of Evil Geniuses, manages to stop the pull over. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Kaka beginning to get aggressive. Zai has come in, it will be tethered up to Fear to give him that extra bit of movement speed. The stun goes out, doesn't hit KT as well. The stun by Kaka, is that going to be enough to be able to get him away? Stuns them all up, another right click comes out from PPD. Looks like Fear is going to have to throw out the Storm Hammer. One more second, he's got the mana now. Kaka goes for the deny on Roshan, but they're both stunned together. And Fear will bleed Kaka to death for the first blood.
That was the best possible scenario, as Roshan couldn't deny him as he was stunned up as well. Roshi even going to deny that range creep, and a very decent start for EG.
Absolutely. If you look at mid, Sumail's doing quite well himself, 12-1, though he is out of mana now. Do have the courier funneling in the dub bottles, though. So we're going to see Sumail go right back up to full HP and full mana.
And this should be a relatively free matchup for Storm, as thrives against these melee heroes that can't really contest them or have kill potential against them. We're seeing that already as quite early 15 CS at just 2 minutes into the game, as Blue's struggling to break double digits right now.
Now, the Elder Titan, he has some impact in the bottom lane, but it also meant that he fed away first blood. The Storm Spirit's getting so much space in the mid lane. Is this where we start thinking about Newbee perhaps rotating both the Shadow Demon and the Elder Titan to try and gank up that Storm Spirit, or is that just a little bit too much out of the realm of possibility?
I don't think you have to do that quite yet, because the good thing about DK is Storm has quite a hard time killing him once you get a few levels of that Dragon's Blood, which he already has 2 of. High armor heroes are something that Storm really dislikes. And I think Sumail's the type of player anyways that will try to prioritize farm in a game like this, because he should rightly believe that he's the best late game hero in this game.
In which case, probably better to try and secure House farm, as he doesn't want to be left alone against a Batrider, at least not until he has his level 6. So Kaka will remain in the bottom lane with KP, trying to ensure this Slardar has a good start. This is pretty much Newbee through and through. They want to be able to enable KP to have an early blink dagger on most of his off-lane heroes and get his initiation in early.
Yeah, the Slardar is going to be huge to counter the Storm. Like Winter talked about on our panel, it's one of the best ways to deal with that Storm Spirit, but if Storm just gets a little bit of farm, you get his Bloodstone timing at a decent time, especially if so that before the Slardar picks up Blink Dagger, he might just always have enough to survive, even with the SD disruption.
Universe has been trying to bully Hao back as much as possible. He dove past the Game1 tower, we saw him TP back for his Tranquil boost, so he is off to a damn good start. A lot of that being helped out by Zai's Wit. He's now going to be looking towards the mid lane. Both these heroes about to pick up their level 6. This is where potential kills could happen. Both these heroes are still rather tanky. Dragon Knight, of course, has that heavy amount of armor, and Sumail, he's got that zip zap. I don't really think they have the strong enough support to really burst down a Storm Spirit off the Dragon Knight Dragon Tail.
They might, but at the same time, it's going to be a pretty heavy investment. They are making their way forward, trying to get Sumail before he hits level 6, but they might not be successful in that. And on top of that, Sumail already has a Magic Wand, one of the best investments to make defensively on a Storm, and he's going to pick up an Infused Raindrop on the way. So that should make it nearly impossible. They are making the move forward.
They're going to put it to the test. Not
even that
just a little poke there, but not quite the follow-up in time from the supports. They may try again when Mu completes his level 6, but for now, they will head back up to the top lane. They also have to consider that not only all those defensive items you were talking about, Magic Wand, they even have Zai ready to go at any point with the tether model, so taking that attempted play at mid may turn against them quickly.
Yeah, they just wanted to try to get aggressive before Storm hit level 6. They were going to try to lead that into some tower damage early on mid. That's the best advantage of having a Dragon Knight in this matchup, is that then each you have to rotate maybe one of the two to have to deal with that, then you free up this bottom lane. But as a result, Mu gets denied. Sumail's just going to continue to free farm. He's almost he has at under 6 minutes. Unbelievable for any mid hero, much less a Storm.
So he seems to be not phased at all by that Breathe Fire damage reduction, as the extra hits from Overload, granting him easy CS opportunities. Does this mean, do you think Evil Geniuses, they're getting the best out of the laning phase? Are you still okay with Newbee still protecting Hao and not trying to put too much pressure on him?
I think they have to protect Hao because his early game is going to really determine how much real estate they can get.
Yeah.
Because the way that it works right now is that Newbee, they have to take care of this dire jungle, and they need a hero that can kind of roam around the top area, which is going to be your Slart, to deny a lot of this Storm's farm.
Bit of pressure on Mu. They're going to be a whole lot more pressure soon, as PPD is going to wrap around with the rest of the supports coming in, as well as Universe. Mu is going to be a target here, but already the defensive supports of Newbee are going to respond to that TP. They managed to latch on that Universe with the pounds. He will be the first one down. The rest of Evil Geniuses retreat. In fact, they may even lose PPD. Looks like KP has his sights on the Winter Wyvern. Already has the amp damage on him. No escape for PPD. That'll be a second kill going their way unless Fear can somehow stop it, but he realizes there is no way. And KP pops the Mako, and Slithering Crush will seal the deal. 1-2 now to the favor of Newbee.
KP already has 1,500 gold at 7 short minutes into this game. He's had quite a successful offlane as a result of having Kaka pretty much camp this area for him. Them contesting this Sven plus Winter Wyvern, but
I mean, it feels like that was almost, in a way, a test from Evil Geniuses, trying to go for a dive on the mid lane, because we've seen, more so than any other team, I would say, Newbee know how to play defensively around those early laning ganks. They always are set up with defensive supports behind their mid, and they usually are going to mass rotate to punish you.
You pointed that out before this game as well, that we are going to see this counter-aggressive play from Newbee. We got a taste of that there, as Universe not having nearly as good of a time as the Slardar is when it comes to his timings. Blink for him is going to be pretty delayed as a result of that mid attempt, but again, Sumail is going to be the hero to watch in this game. From a Storm player perspective, this is a very good timing for him right now, and the type of heroes that Newbee has to keep them alive.
Denied! Which means it is going to be all the more critical for KP to finish up that Blink Dagger and get a successful gank on mid, coupled with Dragonite.
The thing about KP though is he's going to have his work cut out for him this game. He's going to almost always have to be the scouting force for this Slardar. Cow alone just doesn't deal enough damage, especially with the Winter Wyvern, so he is going to be in a situation where he might pick up that early blink, but he always has to worry about falling behind in relative farm. If you only gank with the Slardar, you just get behind. You don't want to be in a position where at 25 minutes you only have a 4-staff. And Blink Dagger, you want to start working towards those core items and treating yourself like a third core.
Coming forward here, the Invision is going to get a quick surprise initiation on the move. Just a small pittance of damage. Nothing like threatening, but does force a rotation out of Newbee.
Curious to see what builds Sumail decides to go for. Does have enough money for threads, but there is a lot to be said about going just straight for the Bloodstone this game and grabbing the Arcane boost.
Newbee, two supports sitting behind Moo. They have Hao with his level 7, actually level 8, about to be picked up. So they know he's going to be okay there. And KP, his lane is being pushed out. In fact, they're going to try and enable KP even more. An early invasion into the jungle. Classic Dota strategy at this point. I mean, they see PPD picked out, but looks like they are going to be able to get the initiation on him. Blink Dagger picked up by KP. All PPD can do is maybe get the cold embrace off, but not if that goes down. A third kill going the way of Newbee, and they may be set up to push in that tier 1 tower. Evil Geniuses go pretty quick with the response. They're already pushing in the mid lane and forcing Kaka to defend.
You saw how far Fear was away from that attempt. I think G was kind of aware of that happening, but they were banking on allowing their Winter Wyvern to kind of soak up that gank for them. Newbee don't really transition that into anything, which is probably the bigger part here, is during that time period you just had Storm farm, you had Bad Rider continue to farm, your Sven was getting the jungle as well, and Newbee, all they really get out of it is this level 5 Winter Wyvern who hasn't had a lot of farm, has 628 net worth, they barely get anything out of that gank. Might have not even been really worth their time.
Let's talk about that philosophy a little bit. Our time together, you oftentimes encourage me to completely abandon that lane, don't even leave a support there for levels, while we've seen, some teams do take that philosophy, others are willing to leave a support there and sort of tanks the gank in some way. It basically kind of sets up a situation where the team smoking and evading does get that extra little bit of gold and experience. What are your thoughts on it, and what do you think that really means Evil Genius's plans are for this game?
I think for EG, it's simply just, if the gank happens at that south side of the map, then you free up time and space for your Storm, because the Storm is a real hero of this game. If Winter Wyvern dies 10 times, they can still win this game just on the fact that this hero can get huge. Right now he's progressing very nicely, he's already got 1800 gold, this Bat Rider's not doing too bad either, Sven who's gonna really get ahead. All the pressure is on Newbee right now. EG can play proactively by moving around the map, but they don't have to force engagements, whereas Newbee they have to, because you've got neutral things that EG can just take control of, like this cap right now. That Fear has already stacked 3 times into this game. Storm's just going to keep farming his jungle, so Newbee, every single time they show themselves as 3 and they pop the dragon form, that means you can't really make a move right after that. You're going to have to wait to cooldowns, you're going to have to wait to reset the map, and the Slardar, look at his item build. He just went straight for the Blink Dagger. He's got no Tranquils or anything like that. He's going to struggle pretty heavily just constantly rotating. I mean, he delivered himself a clarity, but he still only has 500 HP, and KP, he's got his work cut out for him in a game like this.
So that kind of investment in ganking that bottom lane is essentially just a big distraction for Evil Geniuses to get more space. That Dragon form being popped, the rotation, the smoke being used, it all means that Sumail will feel comfortable pushing aggressively and getting that extra bit of farm. He may even see a rotation through the dire jungle and starts getting some extra golden experience out of that. Newbee already trying to keep as much damage off that tier 1 mid tower with the early rotation by Kaka. This obviously that mid tower, pretty important for Dire's side, right? It helps you control that Roshan pit, which is a possibility if Evil Geniuses win a good fight. More than likely, though, Newbee should be able to claim them.
I think the interesting part here is that what usually happens with this 10-minute play is you'll almost always see in any competitive game right now, Dire has any sort of pressure mid hero, they're going to make their way down into this Radiant jungle, get one ward down, maybe even behind the tower, a full commitment of that, and you simply just take down this bottom tower and you just own half of the map. But as a result of probably just being afraid of the storm farming, the Dragon Knight instead makes his rotation to this bottom rune, and I think he just wants to try to shut this down because he knows that Kaka is liable to be dived because he's a level 8 or he's a level 4 Elder Titan.
Yeah. Trying to make sure that Sumail doesn't get the space required. So Newbee obviously then would have equal incentive to try and take down that mid tower. What do you think the game plan coming up in the next 10 minutes is for them?
I think for Newbee, it's continue to get aggressive across the map. What I'd really like to see them do is maybe even make a smoke play for this top lane, try to pick off the universe and transition that into allowing one of the two supports on Newbee to get some farm while Slark, once he grabs his Shadow Blade, just roams around the map and creates a lot of space. Best thing that Slark does right now in this meta and why he's come back in such force is he just owns such a significant part of the map. There's no way that even a single support is willing to move around the map when you've got a Slark with the Shadow Blade, and so they have to clump together, slow down their own timings, and you can't just always sentries.
Right. The investment. We are going to see our on pause finally. 10-minute mark comes through.
Oh, he does leave the full bottom, so that's what I was curious about, whether or not he would do this.
Change up on their mind. They will go for that tier 1 tower. Evil Genius is getting plenty out of it, though. As we said, Sumail making his way through the jungle, trying to get that extra bit of boost, and same goes with Fear. He cleared through the Ancient stack. Obviously, Universe is having a decent time as well, trying to complete that run. So all 3 cores of Evil Geniuses are getting something out of this pressure from Newbee at the bottom lane, and the tier 1 tower isn't even going to fall immediately. They seem a bit scared for so many heroes of Evil Geniuses off map.
Yeah, but Newbee should just assume that there's a lot of farming going around. And if you look at EG's commitment to farm, you notice that Sumail's gone for the Arcane Boots build, which has kind of seen a resurgence, or it was always
There's the dive on mid. The level 5 Elder Titan isn't much to Sumail, but with the extra TPs, they will be roughed. And now the stun comes in from KP. They're going to go straight for dive. He's got to relocate. He's not going to be fast enough. He goes down, and now instant stun on Sumail. Do they have the damage? No, not quite. The Slithering Crush. Half a second too late. KP had to be spamming that one out, but relying on cooldowns, they will not be able to get the big 4 of Evil Geniuses.
Very well done by Newbee, though. They are utilizing the Blink Dagger on this Slardar very well to the kind of engagement that they need, but if you just look at the passive gold going on right now, EG still ahead on their 2 cores.
Yeah, you can say that that mid setup where they're able to kill the Wisp, yeah, they save the Elder Titan, but it cost them their tier 1 tower bottom lane that they were pushing earlier. PPD did manage to get the deny on that, so that is obviously gold exchange-wise not really going to be real good for Newbee. AP trying to set up again on the mid lane, but they can get another pick. When are we going to look towards Roshan in that Aegis?
I think even more important than the Roshan is for Newbee to try to control this ancient area. If they control this ancient area right now, I'd say that the pace of the game right now for them is very good, and they're satisfied, but as a result of this kind of going uncontested, it doesn't matter if EG lose 1 support hero at the cost of Sven just farming 3 ancient stacks and still farming out the jungle. It means that 2 cores are distributing farm very well.
Well, surely things are about to amp up as Newbee are completing that Shadow Blade, playing it out to How now. Yep. And they're going to go for a 4-man smoke, actually meeting How's lane. They're going to go.
We just talked about this
stack.
They have to control this area.
Unfortunately, they won't be able to actually catch anyone farming that stack. They will be able to block it away. Yeah, it was moved.
They should transition, though. This top tower is worth it for them to go for in full force. But instead, they're going to go all the way around, it looks like. Don't want to get caught out. Control this ancient area. They got 2 wards down in this section. Now they're going to know when the stack happens.
Little Geniuses, they kind of had 2 choices there. They could have actually pressured that mid-tier 1 tower or try and contest top lane. This 4-man smoke looks like they didn't quite fully know that Newbee was going to go for the tower, and they decided against contesting and just start setting up for the tier 1 mid, thinking that it's the higher objective.
Yeah. for EG, I think getting into team fights early on, unless you can start out with a numbers advantage, is going to be difficult. And you don't really want to pull down the count.
Two-man slithering crush. That's going to set up Pounds. He'll be able to get the Pounds. Oh no! He got bounced back with the flame break into the Pounds because of it. And now we'll be able to get the immediate use on the gear. So instead he turns to PPD, we'll be able to pop him out. Sumail goes to the back. Running out of mana. He's getting low. We'll be able to make that last long jump into the river. But now he's right there with the M5 damage, and they don't even need a slithering crush there. They'll get a second one too for Epstein. It's the tether away, but he wants this pursuit. Man, get another two-man slithering crush. Time with the amplified damage is fresh meat for Newbee, and they're going to claim the Bat Rider's life as well. 4 down from Evil Geniuses, and Newbee will push mid.
That was so well done by Newbee as they set that fight up perfectly. They had all the time in the world to flank from every single angle. Sumail just going a bit too hard for that Shadow Demon right there. He just did not have the damage with his build. And I was just about to say, they want to try to avoid fights when your Storm is so close to his Bloodstone. But instead, they're just going to lose so many heroes on the back of that. On top of that, now their EQ sector slowed down.
The initiations from KP is really what set all that up. That two-man slithering crush. The missed pounce was unfortunate for Newbee, but it didn't cost them much. Sumail, he committed towards that backline, didn't have the mana to be able to get it all the way across the river, and got stuck inside. Evil Geniuses looked like a game plan that was sort of cobbled together last second, as Newbee find a successful initiation.
Yeah, they're going to go back for this mid tower. They still have a lot of these ultimates up. The Winner's Curse is available to them, but they've got to be careful. They can't take another consecutive fight like that, because Sumail, again, closing in on that Bloodstone. I think you want to wait for it, but they're going to smoke, try to secure this mid tower, and they've got to be careful for this one. Newbee, I think they're itching to fight, got all their spells available to them.
Maybe Evil Geniuses think they're going to catch Newbee off guard. This aggressive play, 3 blood
wrapping all the way around. Newbee are pretty grouped up. Here comes the full-on sandwich. They are going to get a two-man struggle coming out from here with the clean. They'll take out Bolt. Universe controlled up by the Golden Praise will be able to save his life. Long enough to be able to get the last shot down with Boo. Getting some extra damage onto Hal, trying to stay ahead of him. Hal gets out, but 3 down from Newbee, make it 4. KP caught by the Stormbolt. And now it's Evil Genius' turn to reap the reward.
Unbelievable read by EG as Fear just assaults the support duo from Newbee. They weren't able to get a single spell off. If they were able to slow him with the Demonic Purge, disrupt themselves, maybe they would have been able to win that fight. I think Newbee was favored, but that was the perfect engagement from EG. They immediately take out the 2 supports. You can't write it better than that, as now Sumail gonna pick up that Bloodstone, and EG are gonna reset into a very good position.
I mean, if you look at the initiation of Evil Geniuses, the Storm Spirit, Bat Rider, Winter Wyvern, all these heroes are excellent at being able to set up team fights for success, but Newbee's biggest strength is these very disruptive, defensive style supports in both the Shadow Demon and Elder Titan. Both of them have a way to kind of stall up your aggression, to put a pause on the game while that disruption or that stop buys time and resets the fight for Newbee. But when you're able to assault that back line like Fear did, take out both supports as he said before they cast a single spell. Fight looks rather easy for Evil Geniuses now. Set up for another team fight. 5-9, 17 minutes in. Evil Genius
Here has the Blink Dagger. Newbee's got to be careful, but I think that was pretty unbelievable. It looked like both the Newbee supports weren't sure where the Stormbolt was going to go, so they both froze. They stood right next to each other. They can't afford to do that, and I think they're going to prioritize the safety of them now, as Blue is going to frontline for them with that armor. Very hard to take down, but EG, they've got the Blink Dagger on this man, and they want to utilize it.
Newbee gonna make it as hard as possible for Evil Geniuses to find a successful initiation. Look at their positioning. Hard right side of the map, sitting inside the trees. Still not too grouped up where Stormbolt could catch multiple heroes, so Evil Geniuses, they're going to have their work cut out for them in order to get the initiation needed, and that's why they're actually going to back out, and this is actually fully tipped off by Newbee. Great scan will see the retreat of Evil Geniuses and their rotation through the jungle and towards mid and top.
And EG didn't get really anything out of that. They cleared out their jungle, so if Newbee decided to make an aggressive move, find anything.
Double damage!
Everybody from EG should make a full-on retreat. You just continue to farm up these 2 camps as well on the 2 cores. Sumail can start establishing himself up in this camp as well. Newbee just want to continue to get aggressive with this Blink Dagger on the Slard Art. talked about how this hero, he might just turn into a fighter, not get enough farm, and slowly start to get behind, and trying to see that here.
Beating. Reaching that point.
Right initiation could turn this game for them, but it's actually going to be the Fear who finds the first stun out. KP responsive for it. So they're run down. Kaka going to be saved in a moment by one. A disruption will only buy a moment's respite though. And now it's going to be Geniuses running over Newbee one by one. KP, he's going to be next target while Universe pulling back move. KP, he'll definitely die. Fear with God's strength cleans him up. And PPD manages to survive against Howe's assault. Tried to go for the back line just like Fear did, but wasn't nearly as successful.
I mean, this game plan from EG to consistently just go for the supports, pick up these free Bloodstone charges on Sumail, this is really what's going to enable them to scale, and I mean, the crowd senses it right now. EG is playing so well around their 2-4s.
Yeah, Newbee's gonna have to go back to just farming away. As Moo pushing out that bottom lane, How going to take his part in top lane. Moo's got 2100 gold here. He already has the armlet. What is the next item for him? Does he need more defensive style BKB?
Might even think of picking up a Blue Dagger of his own just because they lack some initiation right now on Newbee. I think Newbee is a team that desperately needs to start playing aggressively. That's 2 fights in a row now where just been found out very quickly, and he does go for the Blink Dagger like we noticed.
Call.
Yeah. KP though, like 270 gold right now in a position where he had something like a 9-minute Blink Dagger. This is not the kind of progression that you need to see, especially against a Storm who's scaling so fast.
They need a successful fight, or at least a pick-off.
They need 1 fight into a Roshan right now for Newbee to get back into this game comfortably.
Geniuses keeping themselves pretty well spread, feeling comfortable with their rate of farm so far. Yes, Archlark is top of the net worth board, but not by much. Both the Sven and the Storm Spirit are just barely trailing. Looks like Newbee are going to find that initiation. Somebody gets this first. They don't quite have the burst damage though. Zai's going to be able to come in with the header. Save the one. Is going to be jumped on by Sumail, easily taken out. Fear turns, finds out move. Out coming in for the side, but once again he's being distracted by PPD. And PPD shoots him right out. Now has to go. Your Fear is dead beside. He's causing problems. He's healing up Fear, and Fear's out of mana now. How's not going to be able to make it away from this one? Fight right back, and Zai survives. Quad down as well. Newbee lose 4, and it's Evil Geniuses who will take the Roshan.
I guess that answers how good EG is. 3 fights in a row now. If they go for the relocate, they want the finish.
They don't want Roshan. They're going to take all 5. That's the wipe. Another Titan down. Newbee goes straight for the tier 1. They keep up the pace. They don't let Newbee have anything extra. And now the Blink Daggers start swarming in. Universe, he picks up his own. Let's see that one again. They tried to jump on Universe, but the burst damage just wasn't quite there. And Sumail's initiation was so much stronger than the full force of Newbee.
That was so well done by both of EG supports, constantly kiting PPD alone. How occupied for so long, they were able to just isolate targets out. You notice that Sumail instantly jumps to that slaughter, getting rid of that counter initiation. And EG played this fight so well, they were so self-aware of where all their teammates were at all times. Newbee, they cannot afford to take fights like that. That's a 20 Bloodstone charge Storm now. Almost has that Orchid, and he's going to render 3 of these heroes on Newbee's side completely useless.
Newbee gotta be feeling a bit desperate now and unsure how to approach this. They keep on trying to get the right fights, and they find what seems to be a pretty good initiation each time, but seems to turn against Evil Geniuses as they just seem to have the right response in the form of both Sumail and PPD, the defensive and offensive side.
I don't even know who you call the MVP so far in EG. All of their cores have been playing really well. The 2 supports occupied Newbee's cores for such a long period of time. Newbee just unable to chain together spells as a result of the Storm Spirit, who's creating so much chaos in these fights. Sonic are just trying to keep up, seeing what they can do, but around the map is a little bit too fast for them right now. As EG gonna go for smoke again. They want to go for team fight number 4. Maybe they can even get a Roshan of themselves, which on the Storm Spirit would make him pretty much untouchable.
Yeah, this Orchid. This could be big. 20 Bloodstone charges. This could be my little moment. They're going to be able to line move, pull him back. KP couldn't get the stop. The slithering crutch not there. Now the wall jump in from Sumail. Grabs Kaka. No defensive support play there. He gets stunned up, but Sumail is going to receive some help from Zai. Starts zipping around. Samael's gonna be fine. The cold embrace buys him a little bit of healing time, and How has to run himself away. But Samael put up his jump forward. He's gonna get able to save. Nice Winter's Curse out. Samael was a bit too far forward. Now they're gonna be able to get the Orchid out. How surely's dead. Unable to be saved by anybody from Newbee. Twice. They're gonna go man on the Samael. He just keeps on running in. The regeneration. He has so much man to work with. He just doesn't stop.
This is how you play a Storm Spirit. Sumail's just giving a masterclass to the other two players so far in this main stage who have failed with it. This is the hero that made his name famous. He is doing it proud right now. Level 16 Storm, 23 Bloodstone charges. Like, this guy's pretty much unstoppable.
And he's already got 2k gold in the bank. He'll have that third item. You were really pumping that up. The third item for Storm Spirit is really where he truly comes online.
He's already kind of come online, and with the third item, Shivas, Lincolns, both of them have merit. He's going to go for either the Hex or the Lincolns for himself. If he goes for the Lincolns, I think Newbee has almost no hope of stopping this guy.
I mean, look at Newbee's items. They went for Echo Saber on the Slark. They went the Blink Dagger on the Dragonite. Slardar still has no progression past the Blink Dagger that he picked up rather early on in the game. These heroes committed pretty heavily towards being able to contest and even win Evil Genius in that 20-minute, 15-20-minute area. And it didn't work out for them, and now they're just not going to see the kind of mid to late game progression that they had ideal.
And EG allowing Newbee to filter into them. They know that Newbee is not right now. Everything that Newbee has done so far in terms of their build has itemized for the mid game. KP at one point had 200 gold about 5 minutes ago, now has 500, and they're in a position where they're just forced to smoke right now. They don't have a lot of options. They might even decide to go for the Roshan, but in that pit is waiting. There's a heartbeat there, but instead they're going to try to get aggressive. EG on the opposite side of the map, reading this movement perfectly, and Newbee's going to get denied once again.
Smoke not going to last long enough for them to be able to make the long journey up to top lane. Get close, and How might be able to scout them out with the Shadow Blade, but it seems like Evil Genius is going to stay pretty tight-knit here. Excluding Universe, will trail a bit farther behind.
Worst thing when you play Storm is usually when there are two farm supports that you can't really do anything about. Cover for each other, but
Now this is Wady. They're going to do Taboo all by himself up the top rune. Godlike Samael.
Yeah, they cannot do anything right now. Newbee, they're going to go full retreat mode. Is EG going to filter in?
Jump forward, Samael looking for more.
Kind of low on mana though, he's got to be careful. They're just going to passively push out the top lane and dare Newbee to fight them. Newbee just getting further and further behind it. They got to split up the map.
Pierce's tower will be taken by Evil Geniuses, and this will help Samael finish up his third item, which will be the Lincolns, to stop the Dragon Tail of the Dragon Knight. We're kind of all in committed with that Blink Dagger to try and shut out the Storm Spirit as fast as possible. A rapid rotation though, the long jump from Samael. Finds Swan, a perfect kickoff with that Orchid. Makes it look too damn easy for Evil Geniuses.
No support can survive anymore. He can just make those random jumps, find heroes around the map, play this style against the Storm who farmed anyways. 25 Bloodstone charges. He just continues to rack him up. Even if he dies, he'll almost instantly be back in the fight. I can even bring him back. Just gonna take all these outer towers, and it's not even like EG have a standard push on it. It's just that they're so much stronger. Newbee has seen no item progression on any of their cores. Slardar, he'd be lucky to get something like a 35-minute 4-step at this point.
These Geniuses, while they may be playing aggressive, they're not giving any opening to Newbee. Reloading came forward, he's going to bring side into this fight, where they get the tier 2. Universe already scouting out that Newbee are not going to contest this tier 2. Newbee pretty much have to hole up inside their base, it seems, as they really can't take a straight 5-on-5.
Problem for them, though, again, is their itemization is to the fact that they kind of just have to go for these fights. It's not like their swords scale ultra well later into the game. Either of them can do anything against the Storm Spirit. KP doesn't have the items to contest anymore. Problem is, there was a point where you could drop everything on Samael and you could probably take him down and maybe you could fight the rest of the heroes. But now this is a Storm Spirit with 2000 HP, 17 armor, and a Lincolns. there is almost no chance that Newbee take him out, even if they isolate him
Double
one-on-one.
damage!
Slark that would normally want to go Scotty, forced into an Amanta style position. Doesn't want to be caught out by that Orchid without Dark Pact already running in, so the word going to be laid down. They are going to make their long shot.
They already got Kaka. It's going to be safe, but it's disrupted, but instead they'll take KP, trying to leave Kaka for slightly later. Move, going to be chased away by Universe, and Swan will be the third pickup. Triple kill. Samael once more, running low on mana with the help of Fear. He can do it all the way to the tier 3 tower. Armlet toggling move, desperate to be able to get out of here, but not the case. An ultra kill for Samael as he falls out of control.
How simply can't do anything against EG. They're definitely going to chase this hero on a 5-man wipe. And now he's going to go for the TP. Sumail doesn't have anything left in the tank, but EG, with so many team fights, one in a row, not a lot of hope for Newbee.
Tier 2 being assaulted, the last one of its kind for Newbee. And next stop, Evil Geniuses. Can they just in their hands and go high ground? Tell us this story. You could even see Evil Geniuses perhaps go high ground without it. They are in such a dominant position at this point.
EG, out of all the teams remaining, they look like they're going to be the closest to maybe repeating this TI champs. They look so on point right now. They're going to move into this Roche pit. Newbee, again, they probably just have to face check into this to stop it.
That gold lead only growing bigger and bigger. Newbee are not going to go for the Roshan, it seems. Start pushing their way out into the dire jungle. Maybe they're not aware that it's Roshan time. Maybe they just don't think they can contest. Will opt to try and farm up what little they can. Meantime,
everybody right now keep running around this 5. They can't really afford to show themselves as individual heroes to push out lanes because of the storm. Now almost has this Bloodthorn available to him. Solo pickoff potential for him is so huge, and at some point, Newbee, they've got to come back and they've got to defend this. There's no opportunities for them to go for a split push as Shadow Demon. That's the top reason, but he doesn't want to get too close. Both support from Newbee. Gotta be careful.
These are hard up battle, but there is no distance that the Veil will not go to pick a support off. He managed to grab Swan Shadow Demon while Fear takes the tier 3 tower. There it is, yes.
They're gonna call it pretty early, 25-9.
A Bloodthorn to finish things off. Samael with 30 plus stone charges. The Storm Spirit is truly back in the meta on Evil Geniuses.
He just went completely unchecked, and out of all the teams that have run him so far in this tournament, he has made him look unbelievable.
absolutely an electric performance by Samael and the rest of Evil Geniuses. They look to simply outclass Newbee in this game number 1. Newbee going to have to take a hard look at what went wrong.
Number 2, so let's throw it over to our casters now. It's Capitalist and Blitz.
All the panel heavily siding with Evil Geniuses for game number 2. It seems like Newbee going to be playing their own style here and not looking too much at the Evil Genius heroes. That last pick Lifestealer, the panel hated it, Blitz. What are your thoughts?
I think that the last pick Lifestealer, it was just so that they can get aggressive as possible, but at the same time I think that the Morphling pick was much better for EG, and I think this game is going to be a lot easier for them to execute.
So do you think mediocre kind of is the word that encapsulates that last pick? Not really the real game changer or big strategic win that you would like to see within the draft.
Yeah, and even more importantly than that, I think Newbee, in a game like this, they're going to want to play as aggressive as possible with KP, but I don't know how easy his game's going to be, especially since there's so many different ways to just get on top of him. They have a lot of different ways to counter-initiate. He is going to have a really good game. Newbee have any chance of winning this game. The last game he had quite a fast blink dagger, but we talked about the Slardar trap, where you get that early blink, and if you don't find consecutive fights, your item progression just kind of dies, and you don't really transition into a third core. Whereas in that last game, you saw Universe on that Bad Rider continue to farm while his teammates were farming. He always led the fights. He continued to get items in that game.
So if KP is our power player, the one who needs to be able to get the successful aggressive initiations and set Newbee up for success with this kind of lineup. Who do we turn towards on the Evil Geniuses side? Who's going to be the player that sort of stops and mitigates that aggressive play by Newbee and keeps the Alchemist in its place?
I think like last game, PPD and Sumail are going to be very key. I think if Sumail has a game that's okay, like if he gets a Yule Scepter at an alright time, it should be okay for EG. I'm not sure if he's going to go for the Yules or the Hood. Sometimes you see the Hood on the Timbersaw, and there's a lot of arguments to be made for that, especially with a Skywrath Mage and a Sand King on the other team, as I am just being found out right now.
The pounding of Evil Geniuses fans hungry for Newbee blood as we begin our game number 2. The laning phase is going to be Sumail matched up against Moose Alchemist, a classic for Newbee. Kaka had a brief appearance there in the mid lane, but will now transition his way up the top to try and enable KP. As we said, he's got to have a good game. It all starts with a decent laning phase. Bottom lane, we are going to see Evil Geniuses push aggressively against Newbee. How already taking a large amount of damage. They're going to fully commit, and there it is! Pound him down to the ground! At the same time, we do see Evil Geniuses. They lose PPD, the Shadow Demon goes down to the combination of the Skywrath Mage and the Sand King, but it's first blood claimed by the boys who bleed blue.
First blood and the fact that it went on a core, unbelievable. They did not expect Zai to deal that much damage, and Zai now going to suicide to the Roshan. Very happy with what he's accomplished already. Might even start to rotate to top. He's going to have the Skywrath Mage in this lane, but his job isn't done in this bottom lane. This universe is going to pick up a good amount of farm now.
Already in Tranquil Boots, life is going to be pretty easy for Zai now as he moves across the map, making appearance after appearance in these lanes, trying to have an impact. Still a question of how will top lane go for Newbee. Obviously, they've already got one kill on PPD. See if they can get even more against Fear's Morphling and try and shut him down.
Yeah, and Sumail in this mid lane just continues to farm very efficiently. This is what we expect out of the Timbersaw versus Alchemist matchup. Most matchups that Alchemist is going to be a part of are usually pretty bad for him just because he has no kill potential on the enemy mid laner and he doesn't have the best way to harass. Sumail can just keep dragging creep aggro to himself, building up those reactive armor stacks which allow him to sit inside that acid cloud, which is only physical damage.
So considering that the matchup is not very favorable for Moon, gotta give props to him for so far keeping pace with Sumail, or at least somewhat 9-1 compared to the 10-3 on Sumail, but it's only gonna get harder as Sumail picks up his level 5 and inevitably kill power at level 6 with that Chakram. The Elder Titan makes his way in, at least the Spirit does anyway. Zai will try and punish Moo, get some extra right clicks in there. Pushing him out of lane as much as possible and giving Sumail that free time. Top lane, KP and Kaka going at it. PPD and Fear so far, the lane position, the equilibrium seems to be in their favor. And they're doing not so well in CS though, actually. KP only 5-3. Considering they've only gotten one kill, they don't seem to be entirely shutting Fear out, who's 11-6.
Yeah, bigger concern right now for me is that Universe is getting a lot of farm on the Stasis Void at this bottom lane. Stasis Void is one of those off-laners, which is a little bit odd because this hero doesn't really care about XP as much as he cares about farm. He wants a decent Vlad's timing, he wants to be more than just a Chronosphere for his team, and right now he's accomplishing that right now as a result of this dual lane.
And he can very easily stand up toe-to-toe against Hao, as you can see, that bash coming to his favor.
Yeah, Lifestealer is not great against Stasis Void in a 1v1 matchup. Void's got high armor. If you look at Lifestealer, he barely has anything. He can't really trade hits just because Hao doesn't have the most efficient way to heal. All of his spells are a significant mana cost to him, and if he decides to pop anything, Universe can simply just get out, which means that in this bottom lane Tuan, the better thing for him to do is just stack, try to gain in levels, but when it comes to a one-on-one right-click war, Universe is almost always going to come out on top, especially with this 4-man shield.
Instead, the bounty rune barely snagged by Kake. He wanted to leave that one open for Moo.
Oh, this mid lane though.
They are going to get a lot of damage here on Moo as they set up with the stomp. Sumail actually abandoning that one, not going for the whirling death, and just leaves it to Zai. The extra harassment in Moo, not even able to cut back directly into the lane. That's Zai's influence, pushing him out, forcing him to fully wrap around, keeping the CS at bay for the Alchemist.
Yeah, and if he's going to contest right now, it's going to be in this top lane, which they're doing an okay job of its early commitment to the Caustic Finale. It's very good against the Morphling. He's got such short range on his auto attacks. But at bottom, How is getting pretty low. Universe is going to make the jump. Will he get the bounty back?
And he's got it too! How? He'll be chased down underneath the tier 1 tower. Universe.
He gets his very first bounty of the game. He doesn't have time one just yet. Twan. He gets the counterplay. Will be able to provide vindication for the loss of Hao's life, but still, a play by Universe being made, managing to get a kill solo in the offlane.
I don't know how many times I've seen that, where a life stealer just gets right clicked down and up and top. They're gonna disrupt, but they don't have any follow-up, but you've got to be aware of that right click from the Void. He deals so much more damage. Life Stealer, way overestimating how tanky he is. He barely has any armor, even being near the tower, only has 4. Can't afford to trade those hits.
KP's been doing a whole lot better recently in CS, but he may be countered as Evil Geniuses are going to come in with a wrap.
Really want Kaka first.
Yeah, they're going to make the roll in. Not able to hit the waveform onto the Sparrow King. Still easy to pop. They will manage to get the stun, but the stomp hits on 2. Kaka starts getting away, but into the trees he goes. Pursued out by Evil Geniuses. KP going to be forced to just TP away. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Universe is going to be slowed down here, perched out, and open wounded. He'll be taken away. The Lava Ledge. Juan executes him with a purifying flame.
Just a little bit too cocky is that first kill. I think he thought to himself, I can continue to play very aggressively in this lane, but that time walk.
Samael making the break for it. 100-meter dash to the boundary room is going to be won by Samael. Takes that one away from Moo, and then they try and keep Moo down, not even letting him get more than 1 CS as the game comes in. Smoked up, gonna lead with the disruption side, easy stomp, and the execution by Samael will be enough. First damage to Regen's coming through, but they get him anyway. Samael gets him with the final right click.
And even with the Alchemist Chemical Rage pop, not enough regen. Samael, that pure damage comes in handy right there, as with that steal from this Whirling Death. And this is the kind of game that you want out of your Timbersaw. He's going to have to snowball out of control, because he has to tank so much just so Fear can have a decent game, as Fear has largely been shut out in CS.
Hao may have to be careful now. I don't think they can straight up just Chronosphere Hao and go for a stomp. I think he's a little bit too healthy now, but if he gets low enough, as you can see, Universe is right to lead him in. Here it comes. They're going to try and go for the combination now. The Chronosphere leads out. If they get the right kind of batches, Hao low enough when he gets the raid, invest inside the creep. I don't think Evil Geniuses have anything. Yep, it's going to be a pretty healthy creep. No opportunity for a deny. They're going to try and stick with it in hopes that the creep will get low enough that they can go for the deny play. But it's going to be a long-term commitment. How he's going to pop himself up, knowing that he's got rage on cooldown. Oh, he gets the no! He gets passed up by Universe. Now going to be chased down underneath the tier 1 tower once again. No rotations by Newbee whatsoever, despite knowing everything that was going on. They leave out to his own devices, and the RNG plays against it.
Yeah, Hao gets antsy right there, tries to pop up, go for the TP, but underestimates Universe's ability to call on RNG. That skillful dash, getting quite a lot of farm here. The one position from Newbee has not had a good time, and they're going to need him to create a lot of space. They were anticipating him getting a decent armlet timing, but largely been shut out and moved. His armlet timing is also not going to be too great, as EG going to invade this mid lane. They're making his way over. Does now have the replicate of the Alchemist, but just trying to buy time as Samael. They want to take out this bottom tower. This would allow them to put a lot of pressure into this jungle without even getting a ward down. Hao's going to make his way down, and
Are they going to try and TP in for this one?
now this has to be a free tower. Newbee instead are going to make their rotation on mid, and Hao is a little bit too far forward.
Moo playing very defensively right now, just farming neutrals, not putting himself in that mid lane just yet. Newbee supports and KP. +1 will rotate through that mid lane, not able to find a pickoff on Samael just yet, but as they go down river, they may run into him. Not in the best position though. They are instead going to run into his eyes. He came across to try and catch Moo. Not the case though. The rebuttal in turn comes from Newbee as they claim the kill for Twan.
Yeah, the downside for them again though is all their kills are going on the Twan who's playing the Snorkel. More importantly, they keep nabbing support heroes. I don't think they're quite satisfied with that. The last game they had the same issue. They were getting kills, but they weren't getting them on the heroes that they needed to. Not on that Sven, not on that Storm Spirit. Seeing a similar trend develop here. Good news for them though is that they are trying to accelerate and farm. all of the 3 cores on their team have had a pretty okay laning phase and transitioning out quite nicely.
There's the aggression by Samir. He's got himself the Vid Booster, Arcane Boots, and now closing in on the Bloodstone. But Moo already has his armlet, decent amount of survivability on him. See how quick that Radiance comes into play. Fear, meanwhile, operating on just Boots, Ring of Aquila, and a Ring of Health. His CS has been a bit shut down as that top lane built up momentum. KP, in fact, is going to be working towards a pretty quick Blink Dagger, even clearing through a neutral stack here. Tempted contest here by PPD. He's not going to get too much out of it, though. Lane closing in, Newbee. They can get close enough for the Ancient Seal. Maybe they would... Nah, not even. They've got a level 6 now on Kaka. That bit of burst damage is going to be needed. They can bring down the Timbersaw without him throwing out any disruptive spells. In the top lane, he's going to go for KP, trying to stop that Blink Dagger before it's online. The Burrow strikes up, though. They're going to need to be hella lucky with the bashes, and it's just not quite there. No disables, and clean getaway for Newbee.
Sumail even makes his way up there. First big break for Newbee is not a lot of bashes in that Chronosphere. KP, he's going to tank that Chrono, allow how to aggressively farm in this bottom lane, and Newbee reset a little. Their 2 supports anticipating a move at bottom, but unfortunately for them, EG nowhere nearby.
This support duo, you're not going to see a whole lot of it. Lacking in real hard disables. They have a silence, they have slow, they even have a purge, but they don't have that hard stun. But they may go up for it in just raw damage. We're going to see it executed here. They start going on to PPD. The right disruption is going to be needed, but it's not in time. He gets silenced up. KP on the way hits the Bro Strike, but now they've just stumbled straight into the hands of Sumail. Throws out the long-range shotgun, landing on Akaka, but there is going to be heal coming out from Twan. Evil Genius is not able to snag a kill for the stumbling forward Newbee.
You're perfectly fine. Barely takes any follow-up damage. Fear up the top, continues to push in the wave, but Newbee are going to respond. They've dragged heroes up here. They have a lot of mana available on them.
Here starts morphing into strength. He's a little bit out of range. He's got 1 magic, 1 stun. Will be hit by the stun. The silence is going to wear out. The burst damage not quite fast enough.
They should continue to chase for this, though. Fear's out of mana.
He's got the slow. KP rapidly closing in. Has a Bro Strike ready to go. Fear, he knows he's dead. KP even going to wind up with the epicenter, ensuring Fear's dead.
Newbee finally strike back on the map. They have to do maybe 2 or 3 more of these rotations to create space for their 1 and 2 positions, as Alchemist does not want to help out early on. So far, Newbee have done an okay job, as a Blink Dagger is already picked up, and look at this play. KP has given the Blink Dagger to Kaka, who's holding onto it, so that he doesn't reveal, so that they can get another jump as a result.
See if they can catch Evil Genius by surprise. They're going to need the help immediately. Squad expertly using the heat technique at the right time. It's going to dodge a lot of magic damage, but there's just too much. Eventually, that invulnerability comes to an end, and so too does Twan's life.
Yeah, Newbee continuing to try to pull EG into thinking KP doesn't have that Blink Dagger quite yet. But Kaka gonna hand it off now, and it looks like they want to go for another combination setup.
Ow! Oh, he put himself into the trees, hoping to be able to get a TP out. Didn't use the TP just yet, so he may be able to use it to escape, but unfortunately gonna go for it. Is there a match? Universe, he needs the Origin! He doesn't get it this time!
Alright, that's fair though.
The first time to jump to top lane, Fear, just like that! Newbee are gonna find the kill on the carry of Evil Geniuses.
That was so cool by them, what they did. Constantly passing around that Blink Dagger to make sure that EG had no idea. The last thing that Fear saw when he went up to that top lane was KP didn't have the Blink Dagger. If he had it, he would have bought it at the side shop. So he assumes he's fine in that engagement, but instead he goes down. That is long-term thinking from Newbee.
Already, Newbee, they're doing so much more with KP than they managed to do last game with the Blink Dagger pickup, connecting a lot more successful ganks, and this is bringing up the space for Moo. His progression and items, doing great. He's going to have a 15-minute Radiance at this point.
Yeah, EG have gone through so many plays that this Faceless Void has started to fall behind and farm. Such a good laning phase, being able to solo kill that Lifestealer, but after that unsuccessful Chrono at top, Universe was kind of just forced around the map as Timbersaw picked up so much of that farm. And EG in a position where, because of Fear's back-to-back deaths, they don't even have him to rely on. And meanwhile, this Alchemist not to complete this Radiance, and this is going to be a very strong timing for him.
He is a ticking time bomb, to be sure. 6-6, 14 minutes in. We think this game is easy, though. We would be wrong. Newbee do have a bit of an edge for now, especially with the way that both the Alchemist and KP Sand King are progressing.
All of these cores for Newbee are doing quite well for themselves. The supports aren't even doing too bad, as they are kind of keeping up with EG's 2 supports. We've got 3 out of the top 4 networks in this game, and they're going to be happy with how this game is going. Their aggression, it doesn't feel like it's so 5-man based, and it more feels like this Kaka combination has been able to accomplish a lot. But this time they're going to go for the 3-man smoke. They really want to invade this jungle and maybe even loop around back to this top lane.
3-man smoke with the party surprise. Side KP.
Maybe if they can grab Sumail, they're going to go all the way around.
They can get Sumail
They're going to place this forward.
Take him off cleanly. Might be able to turn this into an objective, but down the ward. We see Sumail now, but they've already fully committed to going up to the top lane. PD and Fear. Thinking that maybe something's off, they start retreating, playing defensively, playing back inside their lane.
You're going to spot this. They might be a little bit too late as PPD are ready on the way out, and Newbee going to guess incorrectly. There's a 4-man smoke game. Wastes quite a bit of time. During this time, Sumail just played so far back that they thought he might have been bait. Got that Bloodstone completed. Now Newbee are going to reveal themselves. The ruse is up.
Evil Geniuses, in turn, will find the space for a bit of an extra free farm. So, while no action comes of that play by Newbee, Evil Geniuses will gain a very small tactical edge because of it. See if they're able to make their own play in due time. Come down to Sumail. Turn this game around. He's the one with the pretty much all the farm on Evil Geniuses, sitting at 7,600 net worth, while Fear, as well as Universe, are only at 5k. Those heroes are going to be a bit slower anyway.
Right now, Fear lagging so far behind in the farm. That last game almost always led the game in net worth, but this game, even behind that Lifestealer who was solo killed in the lane by
Look at this. The drawings on the map. Twan knows exactly what's going on. They've got the aggressive vision set up on the left-hand side of mid, as well as behind that mid-tier 1 tower. They know that Evil Geniuses have rotated to the right-hand side and have gone into the Radiant jungle. They've drawn the wraparound. They say they're going to go through Radiant jungle, they're going to try and wrap around on mid, just like we tried not so long ago against Sumail. So stay out of that area. Let's play at the top lane as much as possible. KP still pushing out that lane, waiting for anyone. TP and defend the tier 2 so we can get the surprise initiation with How waiting inside, but they give up on that. Bounce did put themselves in mid, perhaps fearing that Moo's life is in danger.
Gonna get spotted by that ward is Newbee. Another 4-man rotation, and EG might want to set up a trap for this. Here's actually, they're going to send an illusion out, and maybe they go all in for this.
The smoke pops, but they realize it's just an illusion. They know the rest of the heroes are farther behind. They catch Universe with the silence.
Even knowing that EG still get caught out, Zai going to get clipped by that stun. But this is going to be a free mid tower, and Newbee being in prime position to keep going as they are set up on the right side. EG can't afford to be too aggressive here.
Both teams reading the smoke rotations from the other side so damn well, but the execution is what separates Newbee from Evil Geniuses. Newbee do manage to get the big core kill, push in mid, and will now control the map.
Newbee just gonna back out. They got what they came for. They got a core kill out of that. They know this Timberstar is doing okay, but the Morphling is so far behind the farm. They knew when he was about to be incredibly satisfied. They are going to deward that mid ward, one of the more common places to put it. Newbee just going to back out, continue to farm. They can rely on this Alchemist. Doesn't have too many natural counters in a game like this. And from EG's side, they just lack disables.
Yeah. The Asha coming in for Moo. Will have that full-on Manta Naga Siren style split push coming into his play with the Radiant illusions all over the map. Just in the 5 to 10 minutes.
It is going to be a Yule, by the way, instead of a hood on the song. We talked about how you could make a case for either as PD takes foot, but he was nowhere near
This means his ward was also spotted out. Tuan on his way to take that one out. So Evil Geniuses, they're left with very little vision. All they have is that mid ward that is placed behind the tier 1 tower that spotted out the smoke earlier. And that is it. Everything else is pretty dark.
I don't even know if Newbee is aware that ward is there because their smoke king is still successful.
Yeah. So maybe it will still catch them off guard. Meantime, though, Newbee are not really giving any opportunities for Evil Geniuses at this point. The more aggressive warding being laid down. They're going to try and get some vision of this tier 2 at top lane. See if they can get a good epicenter play. Unfortunately, it's only level 1 epicenter. He needs another 47 experience to get the bump up in damage. And they need every little bit they can get if they want to be able to pop a tanky hero like Fear.
Right now, they just be satisfied with getting any of the cores from EG. They haven't really slowed down this Timbersaw, who is 3-0. At the same time, they have so many different ways to deal with them, especially if they can get the initiation with the Sand King. They can burst them so fast. That's why you have PPD. Always wait in the wings with that level 4 disruption. Now Newbee are going to start the assault at top. EG don't really have a response to this ancient Granite Golem. And the Mantis style move, just going to constantly shove in the waves. EG are going to give up this tier 2 tower. Newbee looking so good right now.
Newbee very cleanly will escape back up and deal with the lanes that are pushing in. Alchemist already at the bottom lane. Evil Geniuses do have the vision down there, and I think they're going, yep, there it goes. They're going to go for the smoke play here. Wrap towards their vision. Got the information for a pickoff here. Just up whether or not Newbee stick around, and unfortunately for Evil Geniuses, it looks like they're going to back out. In fact, more TPs coming in. They're playing so aggressively here in the top lane, and nobody besides Zai has shown himself. They're afraid of an incursion from Evil Geniuses, and their fears would be absolutely correct. Now Newbee pushed out as they've got the reinforcements. Moo putting himself on the front lines, tanking any potential EG threat. Evil Geniuses, in turn, will back themselves away, feeling that yet another gank has gone unsuccessfully. The Granite Golem getting closer and closer to PPD. Careful.
PPD is kind of having this weird standoff where you can't really get close to it, but at the same time the Granite Golem is not that threatening.
Yeah.
Just kind of staring at each other and daring each other to make a move, but EG instead going to push in this mid wave. Power is already quite low. Now we're going to start to see the TPs in. They don't want to just give up this power for free. That would enable EG to start controlling up that jungle. They are buying time for this Morphling to continue to farm. 22 minutes in, just about to complete the Lincoln. Not the kind of game that Fear was hoping to have.
They still get that tier 1 tower in the bottom lane while also defending their own mid tower. Feels like this is one of those plays that Newbee knows best. Now they're going to find the initiation. PPD in some serious trouble. How? Going to try and slow him down with the open wound, but he knows there's a Purge just waiting with his name written on it. PPD. Encounter house movement. Now they're going to be able to find the counter. Tuan is going to be the target of choice. Almost bursts it down. Can't quite get off the ultimate. The silence on the follow line out by KP. He's got to get out of here. Pops the sandstorm. Going to be stomped up. Burrow strike up in 3 more seconds, but no escape to be had. The big off-laner of Newbee goes down. Now comes in. We'll be able to take out one, but now Universe gets over. Samael gonna be able to get the entrance here. His pivot chain is stopped. Parker still on target. Oh, Moody trying to get the jump out. How? He will be able to make an escape, but still, Evil Geniuses take the best of that engagement. Killing 3. They will be able to find one more. Samael gets out, takes them down in the end. Samael looking for a fifth all by himself. The rest of his allies have all run away. Samael is going to do this, and he can! Samael times the word like that perfectly and gets his move!
Unbelievable team fight from EG. For a second, it looked like they weren't going to have enough damage, but this Timbersaw just hunts everybody down relentlessly in EG. The team fight to even things up for them as they slow down the Alchemist's progression. 5-man wipe with him as Fear manages to stay alive in that fight.
Ever so barely, and that is huge. We now have 16 Bloodstone charges on Samael. He's got level 3 Chakram. You can see the net worth graph plummeting in experience and a serious dip downwards in gold.
With Alchemist in the game, it's always going to be hard to judge the gold advantage that the enemy team has, but you can always look towards the XP graph, which will be a lot more telling. This Timbersaw still has very good ways to deal with this Alchemist right now. As we're finding out, at the same time, Newbee, they didn't have their big ability. The epicenter just wasn't there as KP was caught out by that Xayah Earth Splitter in conjunction with the Stasis Void. Just kept him locked down for so long. Now he's got a Blink Dagger of his own. Universe gonna get some more clean initiations off for EG.
Sloppy play by Newbee has led to new life for Evil Geniuses as they start racking in, picking up new items. Blink Dagger, as you said, for Universe is going to give them so many more opportunities. Samael, seemingly endless amount of mana coming for him. PPD will be a free pick off for Newbee. Not much he can do here, but just buy 2 more seconds with that disruption.
And the illusion's over. Newbee wasn't falling for it. Well, we would have chased him down anyways, but
Radiant's middle tower is under
need
attack.
better overall team fights
Has been slain.
and down and a bottom. Universe is pinging for it, but
Is he going to be able to get there in time? He sees Moon, and there it is! Oh, Moon plays, canceling that TP with Chrono Sphere. Then the 20,000 net worth Alchemy. One more. Samael's going to find one more. It's going to be Taka. Here comes the epicenter. Surprise! It comes in. Samael gets lost just like that. For a Skywrap maze, that'll be worth it for Newbee. They're going to find Universe as well. Can Kai walk that one off? Fear and the rest of Evil Geniuses now on retreat, but KP's going to pursue out. He's got a Blink Dagger. He knows Fear may jump over.
They want Kai out of
go
it.
Sai instead. Slowing him down with the open wood. PPD in turn will slow down How with the purge. AP pushed back by PPD while Fear goes to Quan. Quan popping his ultimate defensively, but PPD and Samael's right back in, and he's already popped How. He boosted traveled in and is now going to try and chase down KP. Newbee overextended their welcome, and they lose 5.
and just like that, another 5-man team wipe. Back to back. Even without Sumail, went down so early in that fight. They've got enough of the 2 supports from EG putting on an absolute clinic with their abilities.
Newbee just stumbled once, and Evil Geniuses just keep shoving them backwards. Now Evil Geniuses look to be able to take Roshan, get the Aegis into their hands, and you may just call this an EG game favorite now.
And the crowd was silent as Newbee, they took that mid-game, they ran with it, but EG, consecutive back-to-back whole team fights, to just wipe out 5. Now they look to be in such a strong position. Sumail continuing to scale, now he's got the Aegis, level 19 already on him, and Morph now starting to find the farm. These 2 supports from EG that have enabled almost all of this, PPD and Sai, not nearly talked about enough.
Newbee going to take a bit of a pause here to farm up, and I'm sure in part wait for their big item that Octarine Core that was picked off earlier on the Courier. They still don't have that one for another 40 seconds. So,
again, Fear got that mid-tower. Even with 2 cores, they're unable to deny it, and I think right now Newbee is reeling. They did not expect to lose back-to-back fights, especially with the Radiance, how farmed both of their cores were in comparison to this Morphling who had almost nothing.
I mean, they were controlling the early game so well. The laning phase was pretty damn decent for KP up in the top lane. Past that 5 minutes, it seemed like they just picked up steam, and they routinely picked off Fear, put pressure on the map in order to allow the Alchemist to get farmed. They were doing it perfectly, executing the strategy that they needed to. They leave one opening for Evil Geniuses, and now EG right back in it.
They want to start gathering up. They've got this Aghanims completed now on Sumail. More importantly, they still have this Aegis.
This is where we're really going to see that draft advantage come into play, right? We said, you know, the Lifestealer may not be that effective against like Warfling and this Samael Timbersaw. Very mobile heroes that can output a lot of damage and kite the Lifestealer. Now that that gold advantage that he has racked up for themselves is drawing to an even amount, going to see the strategy of Evil Geniuses draft really come into play.
And Fear is going to make his replicate off of his own illusion from the Shadow Demon Disrupt. Start making his way down mid, quite a bit of damage, and Newbee have absolutely no intention of fighting this bottom lane. I think they want to reset this game, make it a little bit more calmly, just because of how the last 2 fights have gone. I mean, just look at the difference in net worth. Alchemist teams are routinely 10k ahead. It has all been EG in the past 5 minutes.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Seems like the big problem for them is the Samael Timber Saw. They were to just buy themselves a bit more time and give the next round of items, or maybe it's just a change up in tactics. What did Newbee need to do?
Pick up the top, Zai. They thought about it, they dove quite deep for that one, but you're instantly going to respond, Universe.
Universe Link slightly in the wrong direction, may still catch KP. Never mind. Gets up pursuit, and KP hiding himself deep in the trees.
Newbee doing the correct thing, playing in this top side of the map, force EG back, and not get the value out of this agent that they wanted. Well, he's on the hunt, he's got a Blink Dagger. They find out of it, nothing is. Everybody from Newbee starts to get out. I think this is going to lead to a straight up tier 1 tower push from EG, which I think in turn could prompt Newbee to just split up the waves using the Manta style from Moo, who desperately needs to get 6 spotted for this next fight.
Samael telling Newbie that he doesn't actually need a team to be able to push down this tier 1 tower. Timbersaw not exactly known for their right click damage, but the tank and time. Samael will take the tier 1. And with the creep wave, start pressuring that tier 2 tower. But Newbee are already set up. They've got KP on the side, ready to go with the epicenter. Samael has the Aegis though, and that is not their target of choice. They want to be able to go towards the back line, but they're a big plan. They're going to start their engage, not as Samael. Wait for Evil Geniuses to respond. Now the epicenter, here comes the
EG falls just like that! And now Samael's got to make his escape on life number 2. Blink to the right-hand side. Timber stays away, but it's no chance. The kid goes down. And Newbee, they strike back hard in the second game. EG getting way too overconfident there as the first epicenter we've seen in quite some time hits its mark as Newbee strike back with this 6-slotted Alchemist leading the way.
They set this all up by going onto Samael, forcing Evil Geniuses to come
3-man burrow
and
strike.
that sets KP up for the most beautiful epicenter and 3-man burrow strike.
We still have this Chronosphere available. Newbee, they've got to be careful for this, but with Moo being as farmed as he is, I don't think they're too worried. They can just continue to send him forward. EG don't have the best way to burst him down, especially with the Alchemist. 1000 HP, he's got the Oracle waiting behind him, the counter initiation from the Sand King. Now EG have something to worry about. A lost team fight for them, gonna set them back much further than they'd like. Do have this F-Blade now completed on the Morph. They're gonna go for the smoke out, and they want to catch Newbee unawares. That's been what's working out for them so far. Forcing KP to just run back, get him down.
Well, they're rapidly getting close enough to a free pickoff here. See if they go down or try and cut over to the tier 2, or even better, they actually have a ward down. Now, they pick off on 20. Oh, one actually picks himself forward, stays ahead of Samael. Lot for quick reactions, not sure which, but I think he's going to go down anyway. Maybe he buys himself enough time for the rest of the team to come in. Newbee actually going to think about fighting this one. Are backing away once again. Swan buys himself some time with that Glimmer Cave. And Storm with Howl inside. Now they're actually here. Now the Moo's here for the Chronosphere. The backhand perfect Chrono! He is outside of that Chronosphere! All of a sudden he sees that Howl is inside that same team. Starts getting some free right click. Fear in some trouble. Bounces over to his replicate though. Meanwhile, the left hand side. So much damage. Actually taken out by Moo. Oh, Swan executed by Samael. Evil Geniuses. It will walk away from that one. One universe down, but they picked up so much more. 3 members of Newbee went down in that game.
Very well done by EG, positioning themselves. That Chronosphere could not have been scripted even better as the waveform just made it over the edge. Managed to catch the Sand King by the tail with the Chrono. And they weren't able to utilize any of the damage from Moo, as they need that Sand King to stay alive, so he has that lockdown so Moo can continue to pursue. Can't do it on his own against this Lincoln Sphere Morphling.
Yeah, the truly dangerous thing, right, is that the Morphling is surviving through these engagements now. He's already got the Ethereal Blade. This is only going to get worse for Newbee. Why they need another clean execution like they did in that top lane. See if they can start threatening some objectives. First of the Aghanim Scepters coming out from the Alchemist.
Immediately gonna give it away.
Try and swarm into the dire jungle here. Push Evil Geniuses back. bottom lane is still pushing out this strategy. The Morphling.
He's gonna give it to Yankee, who has that point booster, but
maybe going to be using it for something else. They value the long-range burrow strike. Would you have preferred it? Maybe on the Skywrath Mage for the extra burrow damage?
I don't think there's too much of a better target. He can even go for the Octarine of this and force so much of his cooldowns. Same with the reduced Blink Dagger, Force Staff, Burrow Strike, well worth it. EG, like they're reluctant to meet Newbee head on. And right now, what's determining these fights is who gets the jump off, KP or Universe. These are the two men to watch in this match. As whenever we've seen KP get an epicenter off, Newbee have dominantly won the fight. EG, conversely, whenever they get Proto Spirit off on any of the core targets, they can burst them down so quickly.
This strategy of the Shadow Demon Morphling, we actually didn't talk about it too much, where they get the disruption illusions, they replicate off of one of those illusions, and then Morphling just has a second hero to play around with. It's quite strong. It just didn't really feel that much impact early on, where the Morphling was rather underfarmed, but now that Morphling is rapidly catching back up to the top echelons of net worth. It's sitting at 16,000. We are really going to see that second Morphling and the power of the duo come into play.
Pushes out so fast. Always applies pressure. Newbee gonna break their smoke mid anytime, and it looks like EG trying to play his 5. We desperately want this initiation,
But they do not have their Alchemist. They're going to try and jump in anyway.
not afford to do this.
Yeah.
KP has to be able to catch them unawares. That epicenter, we talked about it, that's the key here.
Regeneration!
Samael back to 12 Bloodstone charges after that last team fight. Universe building up some damage, does have the Diffusal Blade as well as the Blast on top of that initiating Blink Dagger form.
EG gathering around this Roche pit, they know this is where the next big team fight's going to be. Here, just continue just to make replicates, shout the waves, forcing Newbee to show themselves. Move's going to push them back just the other way.
Flash maybe coming, the Radiant. Newbee do scan out one of the heroes in the background there of Evil Geniuses. So many more, though, are sitting real close to this creep wave, looking for their initiation. Samael jumps forward here, clearing through the Alchemist illusions.
Newbee really want this. He's lined up for it. They're trying to send move forward. Bait for this, but EG not taking it.
KP
Jumps forward, he's going to be able to find his Burrow Strike. They're going to try and pop the mail almost instantly. Manage to get off to the Chrono. Now the Chrono here comes out. They're going to try and catch Hal. Looks like Arthur steps it down, but here comes the Burrow Strike epicenter combination. Off the side of the mail. He's survived through, but not good enough. He ends up going down off the advance bomb. Oh my god, Hal! He barely survived through that one. Has the Armlet Cargo. Can he stay alive against Fear? Not good enough. The damage of Fear will persevere, but now Moo, he's going to be the one manning on against Fear. KP trying to escape with a Burrow Strike. They're getting turned around Moon. They're just ignoring him as best as possible and dealing with the other Newbee members, but eventually one of them's got to go down. Looks like it's going to be PvP. Still inside the Radiant Burn. Here comes KP back in with a Burrow Strike. Just upside, but Moon dropping lower and lower. He no longer has the chemical raise in about 5 more seconds. He may end up going down. Zai, a little bit more damage to the Radiant Burn. He does manage to get himself away for the time being. KP, long jump forward with the Burrow Strike. Can't hit him. He's going to be dusted. Hunting who at this point? He thinks he can do this one. He's got no HP whatsoever. He's chasing KP away. And now Fear can come in. Blink over the side. Manage to juke out Fear. Jump forward with the Shivas. Can't quite get him. Oh, no! The Timber Chain on point to hit the hero, but no trees.
See this priority in both team fights as guys just trying to eliminate the supports and the disables as EG just beeline for that Sand King in every engagement. And without him available, you see that move, he just can't get his damage out, even with his position at work.
That Yule Scepter, big save there for Samael, bought him a lot of extra time to be able to dish out some damage. Because that combination, Burrow the Strike and Skywrath Mage Mystic Flare, a huge amount of burst damage. They're trying to target Samael every single time, and he needs extra bit of help. Where the Yule Scepter comes into play. Now the hype as well from the Elder Titan. Zai, having survived through that last team fight, had quite the large amount of net worth to work off of.
Right now, EG just ignoring this Alchemist who just doesn't deal enough damage right now.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They're just trying to get rid of this Life Stealer and KP. Not enough credit as well to PKG who got that disruption off onto Sumail and extended his life by so long.
Third disruption and replicate play from that.
Right now, he's trying to connect, but
Gee, now the Chronosphere is going to be on 3 with some alien over damage. They may not have the damage. It's going to come through. How did pop? Ethereal play and an Elder Titan ultimate just eliminates him in a 1-2 punch. And now they're going to try and catch KP as well. Skyrim Stage hiding with the clever K. Will manage to get silence off on the spear. Moo is going to come in though with his illusion, burning away on some of Evil Geniuses, but not fully committing. They may have struck first by killing Sumail's Timber Saw, but it's Universe's Chronosphere that ends that argument.
I think EG are perfectly satisfied with that. Every single time you kill Sumail, you have to know so many abilities.
Indeed, he's found the disruption onto the camera
to die here.
but the epicenter is going to be the response. He managed to catch 2 with the Bruins, right? Universe looking for the time watch, and now Moo battling up against Zai, but the damage from Fear is threatening his life. He's got to let that reach game come into play and kite Fear around as best as possible. Zai trying to play around this Roach KP, trying to juke out the Burrow Strike. He knows it's coming. Did he just do it? Oh, it's at the stop! Zai! He throws up the stop! KP! He force taps himself away, blinks back in, goes for the right click. Unbelievable! Jukes him out! Beautifully by Zai! Keeps himself alive and back home to the fountain he goes.
I mean, look at the range on the Burrow Strike that KP has to work with. Zai just jukes him out of his shoes right now. It's EG.
KP with that beautiful initiation, so important that they kill Universe as well there. But Zai, what an unbelievable play right here as he jukes into the Roshan pit,
I
getting away
cannot
from that
believe
illusion.
that he was able to survive throughout that.
Insane.
Clutch plays are going to determine this game as these two teams are so close in terms of skill and the raw power of their lineups. So far, EG are holding serve right now as Newbee every single time count them out. The center initiation from KP accomplished so much. They went on the fourth hero, they would have been happy with that.
Pick off on Taka, not going to come to fruition. Swan going to be able to provide the response. The ult gets strong by Skyrim Mage, almost completing Fear, but he managed to get away. Now it's on out onto how the Chronosphere controlling KP. But all it does, it doesn't actually get much damage out. Sumail still looking for that same PQ, but he's going to be kited around by the Burrow Strike while PPD is just munched on by How and Moo. They come back into play. Sumail with the epicenter on and is purging off the ult. He may have gotten at the end squad, but it doesn't matter. He still falls, trading his life away for the supports, and Evil Geniuses are the ones who lose 3 this time.
And now there's a Roshan available to them as How just going to walk into that pit, be very satisfied.
Dire's bottom
He's going to drop the jet. KP probably drops the TP to pick this one up for himself. Even runs into a regen room for his troubles.
You can see just how important that Chronosphere is when they get one in that doesn't manage to really control Moo or How, doesn't immediately pop the support. The fight just turns towards Newbee's favor.
The thing about that fight too is that Tao just immediately jumps on this Morphling, forces him back. Fear couldn't really contribute to his team's damage. It was this Elder Titan natural order plus this Morphling that was really winning the team fight for them, but forcing Fear out of the fight, making him play defensively is going to be the key for Newbee here, as they can kill the rest of the heroes quite easily, even Sumail.
These objectives are free picking. Newbee, they get the Roshan, Aegis, and the tier 2 in the bottom lane. Ball is in their court, so to speak, but Newbee, they need to draw out a plan, an exact game plan, how they want to be able to reach high ground. Doesn't seem like it's going to be off the back of a straight 5-man push if they need a pick off outside of the base first.
They're looking for it. Realize they've got to get the jump off for Sumail, finally picking up that
This is
BKB.
mine.
A long time coming.
That combo, the shotgun combination of the Morphling, how dangerous it can be, even a tanky hero like that Lifestealer.
There's a Bloodthorn coming in from Hal. Very good pickup for him.
That is great.
This is his answer to the Morphling.
That being said, we still have BKBs being picked up. Obviously, the Morphling already had his in this new fight. Upcoming fight, though, a fresh addition for Evil Geniuses will be the 10-second BKB for Sumail.
right now, Newbee, they want to take this fight on the heels of their Aegis. Just gonna run into each other.
He finds the advantage. He's gonna be the first one to strike that AKB. Blue looking forward, but now he gets Chronosphere stopped and held in the background. There's a squad. Fear now while they manage to get the combination. KP can't do anything. He only gets the first strike now with the mail. The silence is there. Jump over, chasing down the real target as well. They turn back on the left-hand side towards Hao. On his second life in that Aegis. Evil Geniuses may not be able to catch up with them, but they still won the fight. Finally being able to take out Moo's Alchemist.
That was so well done by Fear. He pops the BKB, he runs across that tree line, he finds KP, going for that epicenter, largely negates it, stopping his blink. He unable to do anything in that team fight to follow one from Newbee.
So he executes both Tron as well as stops the counter initiation from KP. Fear, clearly the MVP of that last fight, followed up by that nice Chronosphere by Universe. Let's see if they can do it again though. This time, take the one from the offensive route. Fear, man fighting up against Hao, is losing this one though. The disruption goes down. Flying gets a second or two. Needs some more, fully up the strength as well. Starts going to the tier 2. Jump away to his replicate just ahead of the bird.
EG full retreat mode. Once again,
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
this mid-tier 2 tower, they've got a lot of map control, sending Newbee back. And that last fight just highlights how important this anything is to these engagements. Just isn't able to get his damage off. Team fights like this, they almost instantly lose. They need KP to have impact. Fear, because of how effective he's been with finding him so far in these fights, largely neutralized that threat. The Universe with the 2-man Chronos hit him up so far, it seems.
At the same time, Newbee have done a damn good job of shutting down Samael. They've neutralized his Bloodstone almost entirely. He's down to 6 Bloodstone charges now, opposed to the 12 that you start out with. 26-9, 46 minutes in. Once again, we direct your attention to that gold graph. Again, it's misleading. We see that about 12,000 gold lead for Newbee. The experience is really what reflects the pace of this game. You can see almost dead even, a slight edge to Evil Geniuses for now. The game may change up in a moment.
Newbee about going aggressive soon. Moo's just gonna shove it in this mid wave, force EG to deal with it. They want to get the jump off first. They understand how key it is. It has been the entire game. They've got a smoke available to them. They want to force in all the ways before they make a move.
Dragon and Scepter. This is going to be given to this time.
Everyone's got one except Kaka.
Yeah, Kaka. Now it's your turn.
Declares all over, but is it going to be enough? EG, they're gathered around this bottom area. They're just going to start to siege. They're going to dare Newbee to come back. Moo's going to send his illusions forward. Should be enough to stop it.
I mean, this is so much easier for Evil Geniuses to threaten a high ground than it is for Newbee. They have absolutely no commitment whatsoever from EG when they just throw those replicate and those disruption illusions to beat on the tier 3 tower, and it's forcing Newbee to either back up or actively jump outside of their base to engage with Evil Geniuses.
Gonna push out this bottom wave, or they make any sort of play. EG now starting to use these morph illusions, like you said.
Maybe we got the move travel now for morph play. So that just means even more crazy movement around the map where this morphling can potentially push in all the ways by himself.
They've smoked up, desperately want to start this fight. They've got one in the inventory still. Not desperate quite yet. EG, on the other hand, doesn't have any inventory.
This game is the name of the game right now. Newbee are looking
their way up.
They may be able to find one.
Not a terribly great target. In fact, this doubled into the Chronosphere. Universe follow-up. Now open. Oh my god, the combination. It just wipes out KP. Sonic and brings out as well. Now here's up for it. He's going to go straight and force out Bilkman from Quad.
Oh, they managed to get moved.
Well, Burn Force 2 has the full 4-man crew and beat on the big carrier Newbee. They take him down eventually with Fear entering into beyond godlike mode.
Universe with the counter initiation, finding the Sand King, who had to commit that stun but wasn't able to get out in time. And now EG have all the damage in the world to work with as Universe starts the hunt.
PPD playing the role of a petite little bait. Newbee, they take it full force. They jump in, grab PPD, and immediately realize that there's all a trap set up by University Chronos here. Now here comes the buybacks. Newbee going to attempt to hold as best they can without the rest of their heroes, but surely there's going to have to be another buyback from someone here.
Yep. And EG right now showing why Helmet Titan is such a force in this late game. His natural order is enabling everyone from EG to deal so much damage for free.
10 more seconds. Still Juan and KP are back up with Oracle and Sand King. Evil Geniuses have already done enough though. They forced out a buyback and both Blue as well as How.
They've opened up the game for themselves. If EG find either of these cores out of place, the game just ends in Newbee. They don't want to die waiting inside their base. They're going to make an aggressive move forward, but they can't afford to lose any of their cores here. They have to dominantly win this team fight if they want to reset this game.
Take their fate into their own hands, trying to create their own destiny by pushing out and being the aggressors, but they're just not going to find anything. It seems Evil Geniuses are dancing back. Hold that phone to die. He's not even going to be the target. Bullet strikes up. He's going to be really jumped on by How. The board that triangle in his face. Instead, it's going to be Universe who goes down. He came in and he's silenced up by Kaka. Couldn't get off the first time, and now Kaka, he gives up his life to team. Maybe not. There's the stun. Can't get back home. Juan tries to save his fellow support, but it all comes to vain. Still though, the buyback from Universe, Newbee are so happy with that pickoff and the resulting retreat. They did not lose anything too critical.
Yeah, they just buy themselves some more time. Make EG a little bit too antsy as Universe thought that was going to be a continuation of a fight. EG not really in the best position to look for it, especially with Universe. Nowhere near that fight after that buyback is Newbee. Find some life.
Still needs so much item progression though. Look at he's sitting at that 20,000 net worth mark, and that may sound like a lot, but for 15 minutes in the game, you've got Evil Geniuses, both Male as well as Fear, knocking on the door of a 30,000 net worth lead.
And Zai finishes a sight of ice. This Elder Titan has been an absolute monster in these team fights. And at bottom,
now forced into a rage as the Fear blade approaches.
Here comes the corner. They can't afford to and there's the rage out. He's going to eventually fall. This needs the Male's going to be able to get so much damage. That's why Juan provides shield. KP comes in with some spawning epicenter, managed to get the top of his backside. Almost. And even the Universe as well. Time lost almost up. And KP, that's where the side divide comes in. But Fear, he actually goes down for the cores are dropping. Blue was doing it. And now Newbee puts out. They want more. They're going to be able to find the two. Zai going to be slowed down. Move. Pushing for the stop. Not quite there in time. The uphill is not. So here comes the buyback. Fear sends it. This could be the end. But the Male's down. And the creep falls. Fear unable to complete the TP out. And Newbee is everything they can get their hands on. A grab bag. They're not going to be able to find another hero though. Zai looks like he juked that one out moving left. But still, Evil Geniuses, a nasty fight and more buybacks being committed to what they think was going to be an endgame scenario. But it turns against them.
all of a sudden Newbee finally find a win condition as that Morphling buys back thinking that if they pick off any of the cores, they've got the game ready, but EG not nearly in fighting position. Now Newbee, they're in such an advantageous position. How's going to pick up this Aegis? There's a team available on the ground now from KP. And further, just scaling later and later into this game successfully.
It drops the cheese, rather, and leads it towards KP. He obviously wants the Aegis. This means that Al may no longer have to be the target of a false promise when he's on the front lines. He gets initiated on by a Chronosphere. Yep. He's got that extra life to work with, and Juan can play a much calmer game. Bide his time.
The only core with the buyback right now is going to be Sumail. That is okay for EG right now. They need one of their cores to be able to have the buyback, but if they lose Sphere Universe here, it could just mean the game for them as Newbee pushes out so fast, and conversely for Newbee, 2 minutes of no buyback on their life so this Alchemist, but I think they're comfortable waiting because this Morphling has to wait so much longer, and EG have to play so carefully. You notice they're 5 inside their base right now. They're not willing to move out. Here, it looked like he even had to sell that Dragon Lance to afford that. Be able to go down there.
Let me propose something to you, folks. Do you, as Newbee, knowing the buyback timer. Do you wait until your buyback timer is up on Moo as well as Talon? That makes sense. But after that, once that's up, do you go full on to try and push high ground, knowing that KP doesn't have a buyback, but neither will Fear?
No, I don't. Well, it's probably an okay trade for Newbee, because if they pick off the Morphling or the Void, I think they're in prime position anyways. They're probably going to wait out the buybacks of at least 2 cores just so they have that advantage.
Right.
They can probably hold high ground just using their Alchemist and their Lifestealer, but it's worth it to wait just because they have that timer advantage over Fear, who kind of shuttled inside his base right now. And EG, they're so afraid to lose anybody. They're just going to stick together as 5. What a back and forth match we've had so far.
It's been insane. Both teams know that a single pickoff be what cost them this game number 2 in this best of 3 series in the upper bracket. That's why both teams staying grouped up. Finally, we have some item progression for How. Still doesn't have buyback for another minute and a half, so he commits to the Assault Cuirass, knowing that in that minute and a half timer, he will have enough gold.
Yep, and that's the Hex completed now for Moo. Understanding he needs another disable in case his Sand King goes down early. Since KP doesn't have that buyback available, and with buybacks refreshing soon on Newbee, it looks like they want to make their move. ED gonna incentivize this even more.
Unfortunately, Skywrath Mage has to take it for himself. That's the 56 Marnet would have refreshed that rune.
Everybody from EG just continuing to wait inside the base patiently. 3 minutes to go on Peter's buyback.
We approach that hour marker. It seems like that is the time that Newbee will go for the high ground push. They're setting up for it now. High mid, side lanes, decently well pushed out. You'll have bottom lane about midway through, and top is being actively pushed away by that replicate of the Morphling. They may not get a better shot at this as Newbee.
Because of cheese, they want to bait this forward. If they force the chrono onto just How in exchange for Vegas, they'd be really happy with that. But
Rage Alvins How realizes he can't actually fight against those illusions. Instead, he'll recover his HP off the neutrals, and with the help of Chuan's Purifying Flame spam.
they don't want to wait too long. Still have this opportunity as the Morph. No buyback for 2 minutes, but it looks like they are afraid to overextend. They might just reset and maybe wait for EG to try to get aggressive again. They know that EG are holed up in their base for the duration of this Morphling's buyback.
Never know if that push would have been Newbee's downfall or their saving grace. Either way, Newbee will buy themselves more time. Gonna deal with the side lane pushes for now and look towards forcing Evil Geniuses to make a mistake
Radiant's top tower is under
instead of
attack.
being the active force.
Radiant's top
Now,
tower
going to
is
deny this top tower.
denied.
They're going to show themselves, and I think this is going to enable EG to get aggressive again. They should smoke.
They know the Aegis is about to go down.
They're going to go for it. Even with a minute buyback remaining on Fear, they think this is enough time to make a move. This might throw Newbee off. Newbee might be expecting them to wait the full duration.
Life stealing. He may be the one that Evil Geniuses run into here. He's farming up the Ancients. Will go. 15-minute rune is right there. Doesn't go for it though. Outplaying his fate will deal with the push first. And Evil Geniuses smoke. Absolutely not.
Aegis is going to fade though, and Newbee, they're also hightailing it back to their base. EG going to poke around and feel, see if Newbee would engage that fight.
So, the game now entirely resets. Our next clash may come to a head based around Roshan. We'll have to see if either one of these two teams wants to get aggressive before that point, though.
We'll take that.
Both of them staying 5-man, both of them staying relatively focused on their own side of the map. Male now going to go for that ultra late game build. Aims towards the Dagon 5 for the extra burst damage.
Yeah, without any charges available on that Bloodstone, I doubt he cares anymore about that respawn timer. It barely makes a difference at this point. His mana regen is going to be just fine with that Octarine core.
Alright. One
Hawk is
more
gonna use his
axe to himself. That's all that's left. Poor old How.
It's kind of cool. He invests Dragon Scepter. You just do these weird 4-man ganks, just everybody hop into KP, take a taxi.
Evil Geniuses are pushing out to the Radiant jungle. Newbee mirroring Geniuses as best as possible. Go up to the top lane.
Buybacks available on almost everybody. Teams feel pretty comfortable making aggressive maneuvers.
Nail's got quite a good amount of surplus gold. He can actually get that Dagon 5 pretty soon. Burst damage. That's going to be causing so much havoc to heroes like Chuan's Oracle and Kago's Skyrock Mage. They do not have a whole lot of HP to work with in the first place.
Yeah. So, push at bottom though by the illusions of Morphling, enable them to take that tower. G just back off and they deals with that. Team fight gonna determine a pretty decent amount, especially with who's able to get aggressive on the map.
Alright, so pretty much everyone back to full buyback status, including Chuan. Getting closer and closer. There's the Dagon 5 Horse Mail. He is fully peaked out. A boots to travel level 2 for him. We are going to see the full extent of the ultra late game of these two drafts, and what exactly an Alchemist, Sand King, and Lifestealer, the backup of a Skywrath Mage and Oracle, can do against Evil Geniuses, and Timbersaw late game.
GG, gonna filter down into the Dire jungle. They can start to control this Roach Pit and force Newbee to make the move outside their base. The BKB is now completed.
Invisibility!
Miz for Universe. Going to be a game-changing room. We'll have to see. His invisibility gives him the correct positioning for the perfect Chronosphere. Roshan, potential spawn time has just started. These two teams will start making their way towards each other. Already the scan has gone out. They know some heroes are here. They're trying to find the initiation. The Universe is infinite. They're not going to see his KP. Can't get it done. And Universe gets the Chronosphere. The follow-up from Evil Genius. And KP goes down the Epicenter, but gets yourself ineffective. Now he starts going for the side. He will go down, but Moo down for 2 minutes. He needs to get back up. He can't make it out against Universe and Fear. Buyback's gonna have to start coming out from Newbee as they're gonna be forced back to their base. Evil Geniuses, they start swarming in. They know they found Newbee in a moment of weakness. If they can just take out one hero that doesn't have buyback without trading anything else, this game may be theirs.
Yeah, Newbee right now being pressed back is they're going to have to commit the buybacks. There is no Chronosphere available on EG, so they might even just reset this and go for the Aegis of their own. The move looking for an initiation. He's got to be careful. He's just going to stun out.
EG is in trepidation as they start moving forward. Now he's going to pop in a trap. The buyback comes out from KP, and they do catch the mail, but that is still a great position. See that fight? This is the fight that pretty much determines the tempo of the full late game for at least another 10 minutes. That Chronosphere perfectly well placed, and boom, the combination of that Elder Titan ultimate, which you said time and time again, so powerful in the late game, and then Fear's burst damage with the Ethereal Blade shotgun combination just overwhelms Moo's high amount of HP.
And during that time as well, EG pick up that mid-rax. The one that they want, but PPD manages to grab the range one just on the strength of the illusions that he keeps sending in. Newbee, just another factor that they have to deal with is they've now got to constantly push out this mid-wave, and they have the option of taking this Aegis at any point.
Fear is almost got 300 agility. He'd be more, it's a little bit more. He would have 300 agility.
Yeah, now one successful move kill away from winning this game as well.
Yeah. KP as well would be a decent advantage, stopping the initiation from Newbee, but as you said earlier, that's why Moo went for the Scythe device. If he doesn't have KP to rely on, if he gets picked off, they don't have a Burrow Strike to work with, they still need a hard to save.
G just shoving in this mid lane, forcing Newbee to deal with it. At some point, EG have to realize this Aegis is available for them. Got the Dire side advantage, Universe has the Chronosphere available, and a freshly minted 10-second BKB. So powerful in this 64-minute game.
There are absolutely no disables of Newbee that go through the magic immunity, so it's all up to them to find the initiation. Otherwise, KP's follow-up of Epicenter and Burrow Strike may be rendered completely ineffective.
Yeah.
They're going to find the initiation, but the Chronosphere comes first. Burrow Strike not fast enough. Combo. Already KP down. One about to fall as well. Universe forces out that ultimate. Now turns his attention towards How. Sai going to be saved by the disruption. Universe forces the time walk himself away. Samael right in the middle of all this, but How inevitably will go down. And Evil Genius is about to force yet another buyback from Newbee.
They've been so patient, this entire team. Now EG, they're going to start making their way bottom. They're going to force another buyback out. This time around, though, KP doesn't have it available. Newbee can't afford to lose any of their cores now. Either of them having buybacks.
4 versus 5 with no buybacks whatsoever. Newbee, a miracle defense needed here. And they're just going to be chipped away one by one. The illusions start coming in.
I'll get
Eating
out
away at the melee racks. Now, there's always the save for the Oracle. Ready to go. Evil Geniuses, Bloodthorn out onto Universe. Universe is now out of the use of blade charges. The melee rack inevitably goes down. They also have to deal with top lane where Fear is heading over. Mike's going to be able to get him. They got him. They burst it down Fear. Now they have to rotate back to bottom where Evil Geniuses are threatening the rack. But another Bloodthorn gets this time around. Don't use the blade charges for the save. And time block that one off inside. He'll be cleaned up as well. Samael completes his TP. Now, it may just be Newbee's turn to force out some buybacks from Evil Geniuses, but first, they have to deal with the waves.
Yeah, here's the decision to go for this top push. A little bit too greedy as he does manage to eventually take down the tower with the help of the creeps. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get this bottom racks. Newbee, though, in a position where maybe EG can just go for it again as they all have buybacks available. Newbee in a position, if they lose a core at any point in the next 5 minutes, would almost just lose the game. Especially this Lifestealer, and EG, they just want to wait out their buybacks if they can. That would be a huge advantage for them. As now a Refresher Orb is completed. This is truly the late game.
Not sure if I've ever seen a Refresher on Oracle. Like, that's how late game we are.
Here we go. Another Roche, but this time, where does the Aegis go? How can probably just drop his SMY.
Not that big of an item as actually
and they just abandoned the cheese. They've got a second one already.
Chuan needs it. He's got the refresher. He needs the extra mana.
Yeah, and this mid wave has to be dealt with. Keep pushing in this top wave. Probably has to boots to travel back, or at least Moo has to shove in this wave, but now it's Newbee.
25 seconds left. They're going to try and go high ground, it seems, before Fear is back up naturally. Force him into that awkward decision of buying back with only a few seconds left or losing an objective potentially. Samael, he's going to be on the front lines here with that Chakram. And with the glyph down, no, Newbee aren't going to back up. They're going to continue to go for it. Team Sync and force Evil Geniuses into some sort of area here, but now Fear is about to be back up, and Universe waiting on the side for the Chronosphere.
And Blue's going to get hexed up, but with retreat as G, again, weren't forced to use the buybacks. And although Newbee have the Aegis and cheese, it's like
Different cheese not nearly as powerful as the buybacks that Evil Genius are holding on to, so clearly still an advantage is the boys in blue.
still only takes one fight from EG, especially if they manage to catch out this Lifestealer. Doesn't have the buyback available for him.
20% How's total deaths of TI6 to come from this game. 10 deaths right now on How in a 68-minute game. Ooh, even less than that. 6-6 and 19 right now, and time for some extra couriers.
Now there's an MKB on this Lifestealer. He's going to be able to deal with this Morphling even better now. Doesn't have that lockdown of maybe something like an Abyssal Blade would be able to help him out. And G have it around. They have a smoke available. They're a little bit reluctant to take this fight. Newbee, even with the Aegis and cheese, being a little bit too hesitant. And now a Hex is completed on Sumail, another control factor. Can be great against those 5-second BKBs.
They have a buyback on Moo, and Moo alone, KP, another 30 seconds until he has his... How has the extra life of the Aegis, but he still needs another full 3 minutes. There's going to be, I think, a very clear time where the Aegis goes down, and we don't try and have a buyback. The EG may try to and another Aghanim.
Another
Final
Aghanim. Oh, how's that there?
Mal will finally be graced with that extra ability, Assimilate. Now the smoke, evil geniuses, they've already popped it. They're going to start coming in. They managed to get the side device onto Hal, but he has the AP, so they start ignoring him, realizing that's not the initiation that they want. About Battle of Illusions commence. Disruption onto the outer solution. Now, jump forward, Chronosphere is out. Fear is the man, a little bit delayed in getting there. The other side, going to be over the top. There's the double save, though. It's one. Gets off both ultimates down. Still, the sacrifice is controlling up Moo. Jump inside, infest up. Hal's going to pop back out. He's low HP, but he immediately jumps on the side. Side with the Yule Scepter stealth save. XML executes Moo. They tag out Hal as well. They've got all of the same life stealer. He can't afford his eyes to be able to save Hal. Hal is already going to be stopped up. Down to half AP. Scotty kinda can't get his claws on anybody. Can't invest his life. Their last offer. Hal will fall. The male takes him out and Moo. He thought he could save the life stealer, but not a chance. AP comes back in. A last minute response to the other side, but it's not enough. He will fall as well as EG still look healthy as all hell, and that is it. Newbee College and Evil Geniuses. They move on 2-0ing Newbee in the upper bracket.
A tug of war that eventually EG comes out on top of. What a fight that Newbee put up in EG. They eventually persevere on the back of so many different clutch plays, and they managed to make it work for them as none of them had to commit that buyback near the end.
TI4 faces TI5. Evil Geniuses, at least this time, will be the ones to come out